different ways you can make money through airdrops. One, you can do like tasks on different platforms.
I have an airdrop list that I've been farming for this year. I'll share that list on our Discord. So yeah, jump in our Discord and you'll be able to see this airdrop list as well.
The content presented in this podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It should not be considered as financial advice, and listeners are encouraged to conduct their own research or consult with a qualified professional before making any investment decisions.
Crypto flip.
Spent the last of my Bitcoin stack on an NFT cockfighting project. I really thought it was a great idea and hired developers and artists. Spent over 40k on it. Turns out I have no idea what I'm doing and it wasn't going very well. Didn't tell my wife I was doing this and she still thinks we have $40,000 in Bitcoin. I'm so effed and feel retarded for losing this way. What do you man make of that?
He messed up here when he said, I haven't told my wife and, she still thinks we have... Brother, she's already spent that money, probably on a Birkin bag or something. But she already spent that money in her head. And you're going to have to go to her and tell her that, yeah, that money's not around no more. I can only say it's a shame to you, man. Shame on you, bro. Shame on you.
My guy said she spent on a Birkin bag. I'm dead, fam. I'm actually dead. Nah, but to be honest, what does it mean by cockfight? What cockfight and NFT?
You know when you create an NFT, it has a theme and whatever. So I guess that's what his NFT was about. Or his NFT project.
So he spent the Bitcoin to create an NFT project and it flopped.
Basically.
Definition of doing too much. That's what I would say, fam. But yeah. Better luck next time because that's an L, fam. But don't worry, to be honest, you don't have to worry about your wife, man. You don't need to know, fam. Just do a couple moves and get it right back. There's no point in crying about over spilled milk. It's gone, fam. That money's gone in the blockchain, fam.
Man said cheat on your wife with NFTs.
Oh. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. I think that's the first thing you should do is go on to the App Store and download a dating app because I think you're now single, man.
No. Over 40k, come on, man. If you're over 40k, it means your marriage was strong to begin with.
Have you seen the price of egg?
Yeah, I know. So the first thing, bro, it's like 40k a year for eggs now, bro.
So it's obviously not a life-changing amount of money, but it's enough that if you have it sitting there and you think Bitcoin is a future, that it's obviously going to make a And also, actually, it might have even been in the last bull run because he's talking about NFTs. So I know, obviously, it was more about meme coins this cycle. So it may even have been in the last cycle, in which case that 40k would probably be worth a lot more now. But yeah, what do you do now? Work harder and just get back to accumulating some more Bitcoin because that's the only play I see for you, my guy.
But to be honest, yeah, if you just need to keep it simple, like this is not rocket science, man. Honestly, just buy and hold. You've tried something, it flopped. I will probably be, there's other ways to make money in this market. You can start by doing airdrops or whatever, but you don't have to plunge your whole life saving into these altcoins. Bitcoin is a different story, but altcoins, we're still waiting for altcoin season, so that's what you need to know. Man.
I'm going to the next one. I made 600k USD through 3 trades after starting with 50k. I was telling my wife...
That's excellent returns right there. Excellent. That's more than a 10x. Someone's 12x. Excellent returns.
It is.
Excellent return.
I was telling my wife and family that we moved to Malta because of taxation. In 2020...
600 grand. Sorry, for context, that is a lot of money. Yes. However, you don't need to change your life for 600k, but carry on. Sorry.
But maybe he's thinking about the future. It's like, you know what? Let me get out of here, exit tax. I don't want to pay right now.
That's exactly what he's thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
I made huge profits, but in Feb 2025, I got liquidated for 550k.
No.
Now I'm left with 50k. It's back to starts. I guess he meant it's back to the start, but I feel depressed and get angry very easily. Every time I pass by a real estate company, I feel like I want to die. I could buy it. I could buy that too. That feeling. My wife says, what's the point of moving to Malta if we don't have money? Now I can't.
Sure.
Now
That's nervous.
Yeah, she ain't lying. Now I can't even buy a house in my country either. Still have a big long position and hoping for a bright future.
Nah.
Hey, he's probably up now, man. With the latest market moves, he might be back at like 300k, bro.
Assuming he didn't sell when it went down to 74, 75k.
Yeah, assuming that the further portfolio didn't get liquidated. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. That's assuming he was in spot. I mean, what if he was in perpetual? It would have been liquidated. It would like just panic exit already for him. So, yeah. By the way, what do you man think, Vic? Go.
Congratulations on the win. Apologies for your poor risk management, because to be down 550k in what sounds like one or two trades,
It's ridiculous.
it sounds like the same thing that brought you up is the same thing that caused your downfall. So all I can say is you need to go out there and just learn portfolio management, bro. You can't be putting 50% of your portfolio on every trade. That's how you get wrecked. So yeah, that's my advice to my man.
Yo, Ricardo was just preaching, so I just add to that, bro. Honestly, took you 3 trades to make, start with 50k to make the profit you made, and you can't even say he's over trading, because he said I don't think 3 trades, by our account, you know what I mean, with a lot of stuff that we do, three trades a day or even 3 trades in a week is nothing. So like I can't even say he's over trading. What here is exactly what you said: poor risk management. Because you had plans to move the motor. Yeah, the whole point of move the motor is so like you have less taxation. But there's now light at the end of the tunnel, fam, because this minus 550k, you can write against your tax, so that's a positive. But it's definitely an absolute L, because you give away the money back to the market as liquidity when you didn't need to. That is the biggest issue here. Like, you could at least probably taking 500k, put it away in your ledger where only you have access to, or your wife, and then just kind of focus entirely on kind of growing that 50k that's left over and kind of getting it back up to maybe another 400, $500,000 range. So, I mean, this is all because of poor risk management. And I think in your next round of trading, I think it would be best if you just kind of, you know what I mean, like learn from your previous history and take that risk management extremely serious. When you lock in those gains, you also have to protect those gains. You know what I mean? Like, there's just too many flaws where traders can really like fall off. One is they don't ever take enough credit and profit. And when they do take profit, what do? They gamble it right back. So risk management, my guy, that's what you need.
This guy's life as a movie would be called All or Nothing, because he went all in and he hit the jackpot. He hit that roulette table and he got there and he said, you know what? Let's do double or nothing. And he went back down with nothing. So,
all right, days.
The good thing for him that a lot of people aren't fortunate to have with a lot of these confessions is that he's not gone back down to 0-0.
Yeah,
still got 50k to play with.
Yeah.
But he needs to take a very different approach. I understand when you have less money, you want to take more risks. And for him, he was fortunate and he played out well. That he made over $500,000 in a short amount of time. But taking that risk, that level of risk, once you have something substantial, now it's about defending what you have rather than taking like huge risks. What got you there isn't necessarily the same skill set what's going to keep you where you're at. So he needs to understand the game he's playing, and now he has to go again. But he just has to do it smarter and hope he doesn't blow up his whole account. Otherwise, he's moving back to wherever he came from, or he might get deported. Who knows? But welcome back to the Crypto Flip podcast. I am your host, Harris King, and I am joined once again with my co-hosts, Ricardo and Deji. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on any audio platforms, don't forget to leave a review. And yeah, we have had a lot of things happening in crypto this week. But before we get into that, We're going to talk about airdrops and particularly how to make 10K from crypto airdrops fast. So for me, I've made a decent amount of money through airdrops, up to about 10K USD. And how did I do it? It was basically mainly through, there's different ways you can make money through airdrops. One, you can do like tasks on different questing platforms. So if you go on there, it might ask you to share something, retweet, like, be active in the Discord. Basically, you'll be grinding. That's what it's going to be asking you to do. And for those ones, they're not necessarily the best ROI in your time. Not to say that they're not worth doing, but it's not, if you're expecting a big payout, it's not generally going to come from there. The best ones are usually when you're using the product. So if you're using the product and you're an early user of the product, that's where you will tend to get the best airdrops. Sometimes it just plays out that based on tokenomics, it doesn't, it's not the best reward. So for example, Grass, I remember when I downloaded their extension and was mining, was farming that, and I can't remember the exact amount for that, but it wasn't anything substantial. But I've had others which have been pretty good. So for example, Token Metrics, I had it was $500 per account, and then that within I think a week or two tripled. So that's an AI platform that I'd been using for a while. And how I got it is I had the NFT from I think the previous cycle, which gave me access to that platform. And if you did other things, you can get more points to obviously accrue a larger reward. So that's just one example of how you can get a high amount of money in an airdrop for doing literally no work. It didn't cost me anything. They just rewarded me for being a user of the platform. I can get that money and then I could sell the NFT afterwards, or if I was using the platform, then I could obviously just stop using it afterwards. There's no commitment to it. So I think it's definitely a great strategy if you are starting from zero or you have some time capital that you can spend. There was one big one that I got at the start of the cycle. I'm struggling to remember the name.
Well, Hyperliquid?
No, not Hyperliquid. I wish I got Hyperliquid. I would be God. No, it wasn't Hyperliquid. It was on Sol. I got it for using Phantom for being an OG user. Yes, Jupiter.
Yeah, Jupiter.
Yeah, I got just under $1,000 on Jupe, and that was a surprise to me because I looked into my Phantom wallet and I was like, oh, this is nice. And I got many different Phantom wallets, but that particular one, that was my main account, based on the types of transactions I've done and me being an OG on Phantom, I guess, led me to get Jupe, which is cool. Another one that I'm hoping will bear fruit is Solana Phone. So Solana Phone are gone through their second generation, and I pre-ordered the phone. In fact, I think we all have. And that pre-order was at the time maybe $500 USD, $600 USD, something like that. And in the first generation, people were given Bonk. And that wasn't even a formal collaboration. I believe they just use it as a way to increase their they did that as a way to increase their token holder base, and obviously it worked because Bonk shot up after that, and people were trying to flip the phones on eBay, and the phones were going for a crazy amount, and yeah, it was such a crazy ride. So I'm hoping something similar will happen this time, or even better, maybe with some more formal partnerships. There have been some people giving some tokens away, and nothing has been too amazing as of yet, but I'm pretty bullish, and I think airdrops are definitely a great way to make crypto, especially if you're at the start of your journey or if you've just got a bit of spare time and want to make some free cash.
No, I couldn't agree more, 100%. Quick question before we move on. How do you identify when an airdrop is worth your time? Because sometimes Like, you know, you could go on like ICO drops, or you can go on like all these different websites. How do you know? Obviously, you can't really tell at a glance, but like, what checks do you usually do to see if it's worth the time? Because sometimes even the one that's worth the time will just go under the radar. Like, perfect example, Hyperliquid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every one of us is plugged into this space, but Hyperliquid kind of slipped through the cracks because I don't know whether you started late last year or something before the bull run, or a situation where like we were too focused on just accumulating tokens. Well, yeah, how do you identify which ones are like the good or non-time wasters, should I say?
Yeah, I would group airdrops into different categories. So there's confirmed airdrops where you know they're going to definitely do an airdrop because they've made an announcement and it's formal and they're going to do it. But a lot of these big airdrops are speculative. You know, people will be whispering. You kind of have to be plugged in on X or Discord or Telegram, or even on YouTube, and you know, be doing sort of research. And first and foremost, you want to make sure that it's a legit project. So, doing research on the founders, doing research on the team, doing research on the investors, making sure that it's a reputable team, and you know, it's not just a vaporware project. Once you've established that it's a real project, then it's, you know, checking whether they already have a token already. If they don't have a token and, you know, they have competitors and their competitors have tokens, then there is a likelihood or a potential for them to, you know, do an airdrop, especially if they're trying to catch up with their competitors. So that's some of the ways. Also, there's some good people on X and on YouTube that I'll probably share on my channel and our Discord that you know, curate airdrops, and we also curate airdrops on our Discord channel, which you'll find in the link of our YouTube description and also in our show notes on the podcast. So yeah, so there's definitely you definitely have to curate which ones you're going to do. Otherwise, you'll spend your time just doing a bunch of worthless things for pennies. And obviously, you want to make sure you're spending your time on the best ones. For sure.
Yeah, I think to add to that as well, I have an airdrop list that I've been farming for this year. I'll share that list on our Discord. So yeah, jump in our Discord and you'll be able to see this airdrop list as well. Hopefully, some of it yields some fruit, and you know, we get some of these millions of dollars worth of airdrops in our wallets.
100%. This is yeah. I look forward to seeing that list from Rick. And yeah, there's been some huge developments as far as the crypto space is concerned. Obviously, right now we are at $95,000, and the reason that we've, you know, jumped back from obscurity is because Donald Trump and the US are preparing to reduce tariffs on China by 50%. And not only has crypto, Bitcoin, and even altcoins bounced back in a really strong fashion, but you know, equities have started to bounce as well. But it's really crypto and Bitcoin that's sort of taken the show and yeah, demonstrated the most strength. Because when you really look at it, like all of this tariff stuff is kind of a black swan thing, because you can't really predict which way it's going to go unless you're an insider. So do you think this is now the end of the tariff saga, or do you think, you know, we have more twists and turns to come? So is it a fake out, or is it, you know, is this like what we need to push on to 120, 140, etc.?
Is it a fake out or is it a breakout? I think the orange haired man has he's not stopping, bro. I don't think this is him saying I'm hanging my boots up. I think this is him saying I'm gonna let you lot breathe for a little while before I carry on doing some crazy ish. For the market though, I'm seeing a lot of sentiment towards things going up. I'm seeing global money supply, MT supply, also going up, and Bitcoin tracks the MT supply very closely. That's going up. So I reckon, this is it. I reckon if I'm wrong, I'm wrong in it. But like, I reckon from here, we're just gonna see some mad upward movement. And I'm not saying we won't see a pullback over the short term, but I definitely
It's a breakout.
I think it's a real breakout. I don't think it's a fake out. I think it's a breakout. That's my opinion.
What do you think, Deji?
Because bro, like we're all back in the market. A lot more people are back in the market, and that's cool. I see some of my trades. I've been doing well. Pretty much all of my shorts. I've closed out all my shorts from the shorts I opened in March. Yeah, hit 200% on Ethereum. Fabulous. But yeah, so I reckon now is the time to see some movement upwards. And someone would have to convince me otherwise. I know that things have retraced quite a little since this morning. Bitcoin was at 94 this morning, now we're at 92. Solana was at 155, now it's at 146. Ethereum, forget Ethereum. But yeah, generally, I think right now is the time to either get back in the market or assess which coins you want to get into in the market. I think it's time.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually don't think this is a breakout.
Interesting.
Like I think we top out again at 96.2, and then because I'm not convinced the bottom is in for equities, and this same is for crypto firm, because we've had so many bullish news. I mean, even like you guys are calling the times a black swan event. Yes, it is a black swan event from a standpoint that this is not something that happens like yearly. Like it's not a yearly report, or it's not like your yearly Fed meeting. It's not that, you know what I mean? Like, and then this is something that's been kind of like, you know what I mean, being one of the main tool that Donald Trump's trying to use to kind of bring the interest rate down. And the Fed is still not budging. You know what I mean? I'm looking at the Fed balance sheet. I've still not seen them offloaded enough to convince me like they are ready to kind of turn the money printer on. I know it, like the global liquidity is going up, but I'm going to need to see strong continuation around that 96.6k range to really believe we're back, and a monthly close above 100 will solidify that we're back on a full-blown bull trend. And then a lot of the altcoins are still gonna obviously a lot more upside, because if you're looking at all these altcoins that were astronomical 3-4 months ago, they now come back down significantly. I mean, led by Solana, Aave, ETH, Sui. Like, you know, all these tokens are down significantly. And meanwhile, while this is still going on, Bitcoin dominance is just still fighting strong and just kind of chilling around that 64.5% range. And I need more metrics to convince me that this is a strong breakout. I feel like it's too early to say, you know what I mean? And we're already starting to encounter some resistance around that 94k range. The major resistance is at 96. If you can break that and kind of close around 96 plus, 98k plus, then that will really bring, because even if you look at the net inflow of ETF, it's still fractions to what it was earlier on, late last year, this year, and we haven't got enough like more smart money coming in. So we need more of that to continue going. We need to kind of build up momentum around that positive net flow of the ETF inflow for BTC. And I mean, I'm not ruling out 140k range in this market, but I don't know if you'll see what Mira tweeted, that I think this is all going according to plan. He thinks we're gonna have a really good close to this year, and probably bear market in late Q1 around like March, which is kind of like the same what happened this year. All-time high in January, just a little bit of the all-time high that we corrected for a good 2-3 months. So, I mean, I'm not basing my thesis on what Murad is saying, but I've always said something about, you know, we're probably going to have a right-translated market, because right now, I don't see us going back to 108k. I just need to see what the catalyst is and how we're going to go. And there's still other threats in the market that we have been speaking about. There's still the whole threat of war, even though that's still, you know what I mean, not as heavy as it used to be. It's still something that's still a variable. And, you know what I mean, this tariffs thing is still not completed. There's still other countries. I know UK will play ball, but the most biggest one is China. I would like to see some kind of agreement done before we could start calling for 100k plus.
Fairs. So what would you say, both of you, what move would you make now? Are you sitting on the sidelines? Are you looking to buy alts? Are you looking to buy Bitcoin? Are you looking to buy memes? What you know, What's your plan?
Yeah, I think for me, if I'm playing true to my play, I'm looking to short around that 94 to 96K range on BTC. Still mostly holding stables. But in terms of like accumulating altcoins, I mean, altcoins are basically on the floor. If you wanted to do some, intermittent DCA right now, these ranges are not bad places to do CDCA. Like Sui is $2 something. Metis is $15. Like, come on, like these are cheap compared to what prices you would get in altcoin season when we do decide to get one, when QT stops and QE begins, which is due to be soon actually, because we're still in April. May is next month. I mean, could start June, could start end of May. So this could be signs to come, but I think one more capitulation is definitely on the books to AEK.
Chris, what about you, Rick? What's your plan?
I'm back to trading.
Okay.
I'm back in the market.
Back in the trenches.
I'm back in the trenches. I just you know what? Yeah, we've said this a bunch of times on the pod over the last few weeks, but over the last since this year started. This is no longer an investor's market, bro. This is a trader's market. And so I'm back in, not because I think I'm blindsided to the upside. I'm back in because I think the market is no longer just ranging, and it's actually now trending. And so I'm just trying to catch some of that trend, bro.
Well said.
I think even like I agree with some of your points, Deji. I still think we're up from here, but I think generally it's a better time to say I'm going to jump in the market now and either decide whether things are going to go up or down, rather than over the last 3 weeks. It's like you're so on edge. You don't know what's happening. There could be tariff news that wipes out like liquidate your entire portfolio. I think now things feel a bit more stable to say I'm going to jump in the market and I'm going to trade some stuff. So yeah, I'm back in with trading. And if you're part of our Discord, you can see that in my Flips channel. Yeah, we have some new trades that we've taken up. And yeah, I mean they're doing all right. I think we're at 25-30% on some of the trades that I made on a couple of days ago. So yeah, but I'm back to trading, man.
I think you said it perfectly before you go, Harris. It's definitely a trader's market because we're seeing some good evidence of good volatility. Like it's clear, like if we get a pullback around 94, 96K, no one else will be surprised. Like no one else will be surprised. If we moon beyond that, again, no one else will be surprised because the trend has been building up. So now it's definitely time to, do you want to, can you accumulate? Of course you can accumulate, depending on what your goals are. You know what I mean? But if you're trying to make money, definitely now is a good time to kind of, let me get back on the trading thing. And again, just trade responsibly. Don't have to go 50, 40x leverage because you just never know what can happen. Like the orange man, like Ricardo said, could just go bananas again and end the ties conversation. So, yeah, just risk management is the most important thing to kind of protect capital in this space. It's just, I can't stress that enough.
Yes. I think you both have summarized it definitely well. From my perspective, it's trade season. Across different asset classes in crypto.
Does that mean you're back in the trenches, Harris?
You'll see me put my helmet soon, man. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's a signal, man. That's a bad signal right there. He gets a trim. It's an exit signal.
Hey, soon come. But yeah. So for me, I think it's definitely, there's more liquidity in the market. It's not as on a knife's edge as before. Obviously, that's subject to Trump changing his mind, which could obviously happen at any time. But yeah, from those signs so far, it seems very positive. But when I say positive, I don't mean boom, we're gonna shoot up to a 120. No, I just mean positive that we're trending in the right direction. We're maintaining strength. I just want to see this sustained maybe for a bit longer to just ensure that it's not fake out. But beyond that, I think it's definitely we're in a much better position than we were a couple of weeks ago or 2-3 weeks ago. So that's definitely good news. Someone who's not in a great position are some of the phone mugging victims who have been targeted all across London and the UK. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you might have seen videos, viral videos, in fact, of those people stealing phones. And, funnily enough, I'll give a quick anecdote. Walking in my where I'm from, back in London, just bought some, some food to cook at home, some potatoes, whatever, in my bag. Have my headphones on, the ones I'm wearing now. But normally when I'm wearing headphones, I'm actually not listening to anything. I just have it on just because. And I hear, electric bikes. If you've ever heard electric bikes, they have a very distinct sound. Exactly. So I hear it from like just the distance, but you can tell it's getting closer. And I'm walking on the pavement, so there shouldn't really be any electric bike that close to me. So I hear it, and then I see out of like the corner of my eye. Obviously, man's got 20/20 vision, so I look back, and then all I see is one guy try to snatch my phone. I move my hand, so I get my body in the way of it, and then he zips off. Is obviously too quick for me to do anything about it. And then some security guard from a flat next to me was like, "Oh, I saw what happened," and we just talked for a brief moment, and then he went off. And I had a similar situation not too long afterwards, maybe a month or so afterwards. But all of that to say that this crime epidemic happening in London, where phones are being snatched, is a real thing. And why is that prevalent, or why is that relevant to crypto? Well, obviously, if you have your crypto on your phone, then you could become a victim. A bit like this guy who had $750,000 on his phone, and yeah, it all got swiped and transferred over to the muggers. Basically, what happened was he was at a bar, and then, as I said, these guys are usually on electric bikes, swiped his phone. And the reason, you might be wondering, why does this guy have $750,000 or pounds on his phone instead of in cold storage on his ledger sitting at home or whatnot? Well, apparently he was going to buy a house, so obviously he's moved it to his phone, and he got swiped. So, word of warning, but it's not safe being a crypto bro anymore, man. Especially if you're based in London. So what do you guys make of that? And how are you going to move differently, if at all?
Bruv, imagine going out for after work drinks, yeah? And you got your house, you're ready to complete, fam, yeah? Or you're ready for exchange. Exchange is tomorrow. You move the money to your phone because you wanted to transfer it from there. What I don't understand is there's normally like 15 layers of FA, 2FAs on when you want to do anything with a crypto wallet. Unless you moved it to something like Phantom or Soulflare, like one of those wallets where it doesn't require 2FA. Do you know what I mean? It sounds like my man did that. Bro, I'd be livid, bro. But what can you do, fam?
If he's got his phone, he could still bypass the 2FA if it's like via the phone number or whatever. Because obviously he's got the phone in it.
That's true.
First of all, how did my man lose his phone? Like, he got took?
Nah, bro, it got snatched.
It got snatched.
You know, like moped, bro. My man
had his phone
mounted the curb
in his hand. He had his phone in his hand like this. Yeah.
Like 99% of people.
Bro, you have $500,000 on your phone and you have the phone out like this.
$750,000, fam. We're talking $1 million in US dollars, bro, basically.
Yeah. Bro, you had your phone like, first of all, you should have a phone dedicated just for crypto stuff. Yeah? That's what Arsenal have, yeah? And have your regular phone, which, listen, if it gets stolen, the only thing you worry about is the SIM card. Well, then that's not a big deal. Like, people just need to be different, like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying I have crypto. I didn't know what crypto is, man, but, like, personally, if I had crypto, that's what I would do in it. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have all my crypto activities on my regular phone. I had a similar issue that happened to me a long time ago. This one I realized I couldn't do it anymore. I went out with my missus. We had lunch on the bench. My phone slipped on my bucket, and I left it there, and I kept it, and I carried on walking away. Mind you, that wasn't the only backup in terms of my private keys, my wallets. Like, yes, I can recover them because I had them stored in a different location. But still, like, it would have been a hassle. It would have been annoying. Like, it was just don't need to panic. So I went back. Someone had the biscuit grabbed it for me. And when I called them, they picked up, and then I met with them to give them the phone back. So obviously I was lucky in it, but since then I know like you can't just have everything all centralized. So that's where he kind of messed up. Like one, if that was your only kind of like access to that wallet, why would you have it out? Like unless it's in my yard or I'm in the shed like my man cave, then you can do all this stuff. Or to be having your phone out and about like that, I just asked him trouble, man. And then I promise you, the timing is too weird because on the day you're gonna go buy your house, you have your minute transaction. That's when MANDEM and a moped came in and just grabbed in front of you. That timing is just too impeccable for me. Like, you know what I mean? If you have crypto, it shouldn't be announced you have crypto in the first place. That's what I'm saying.
So what man's saying is, it sounds like this don was gonna buy this yard cash, which is mad. Good on.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is, man, somebody snitched, and MANDEM were following him for time. MANDEM wait until the phone was unlocked, because bro, that's a big lick. That's if these
100%.
If these guys manage to actually rip the entire 750k, bro, I don't know what block they're from, but that entire block is eating, bro.
Shopping. Yo,
bro, that's the worst though, man.
The next London Fields, fam. They have enough money for how many bricks is that?
Yeah.
Bad.
The block got flooded with white that day.
They're good for them.
Man, that's so disgusting.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, bro, how I'm gonna move different. Bruv, I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, with all the content and that, and everyone crypto and that, and people are getting mugged for 750k, but people are also getting mugged for 35k.
Bro, you get mugged for anything, bro. On anything,
you get mugged for anything. And so, bro, I saw this thread lately. They're like, yeah, you should have a backup cold wallet. You know, one with like 4 or 5 grand on there. You know, if they come, they run up in your yard. You just say, oh, that's all I've got. You give them that. But me personally, I don't have crypto. But if I had crypto, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know, bro. I think at this point, I'd just be like, I just not tell anyone, because you know, obviously, I don't have crypto. And 2, I'd probably I'd just say, yeah, I'd probably have to just separate my seed phrase, like across the world. So like, I mean, I know somebody, yeah, he has hella, yeah. He has hella ETH. He's got like 5 mil plus in ETH, yeah.
Jeez.
And how he does it is he has his like, you know, his 12 words for his ledger or whatever. I don't really know how much words ledger has because I don't really have one because I don't have crypto. But he takes the words and he splits it up. So like 4 words are at his mom's, and then 4 words would be in like, you know, Zimbabwe, and then 4 words will be in like a vault in America.
That's highly secure still.
It is highly secure, and I understand you might be thinking, that's a lot, that's energy. But when you're trying to protect a 5 mil bag, like, bro, you can go Zimbabwe and America. Like, you get me? That's like a grand or 2 for those flights. You get me? So yeah, I reckon if I had crypto, I'd do something like that. But otherwise, bruv, London's dead anyway, man. I'm done with London, bro. The crime epidemic, the fact that you don't feel safe wearing anything, doing anything, bro. I'm just like, yeah, maybe the problem is much more upstream. Maybe you just need to cut from London. But yeah, if I had crypto bursts, I'd split up my seed, but I don't have none.
Yeah, I mean that's a good idea. Split up the seed. I think this is where I think my advice is obviously I know a lot about crypto, but I don't own any crypto. But if I own crypto, this is how I protect it. Like let's say I had like a 750k bag, I would just split into like 3-4 different wallets, and the whole point is don't have it centralized, and just make sure that your private key is secure. Put it in the safe. Have something where like you have in a different your mom's yard, your grandparents' house, where like you know it's secure, and then if it happens at a house, you can still recover it, like someone burning it or something accidentally. So yeah, just the whole point is not to be centralized, because if you're just making 100k and you still got another 650k locked away somewhere in a different ledger, well, I mean, it wouldn't have made. I would still made story, but it wouldn't have been such a massive story that you lost that amount in crypto. So That kind of like, and then also, man, just, you know what I mean, like, you know what I mean, like, let your actions speak for itself. You don't have to be telling everyone that you have crypto because, first of all, taxman's gonna know. Oh yeah, you have crypto. Yeah, tell me how much you have. Cool. And secondly, let me envy, man. Envy is a very powerful thing. People are envious of you. So, I mean, I've seen friends set each other up for much less. Talk less of 50K. They will do it in a heartbeat. And a man ended up being of a man then just because they wanted to be cool of other boys. So it's like, what would they do if they know you are sending out a cool meal?
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's no need to announce that.
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm glad I don't live in London anymore. So
Flexing.
I'll start doing.
Just drop that flex.
But no, for me, I think like regardless of whether it obviously can happen anywhere, and I think we've read stories that it happened other places, Russia and other places, so it can happen almost anywhere. Unless obviously you're even in Dubai, it was obviously highly unlikely, but it's not to say that it couldn't happen. So you just have to take precautions, and I think what you guys have described is probably the safest way. Once you're dealing, with serious amounts of money, the money that you'll lose sleep over if you were to lose it, then that's when you have to really start thinking: is my crypto really secure? And if it's not, then you need to take precautions on how you're going to secure it. Moving it into different places, splitting it in different wallets, having the seed phrase split into different places as well, making sure you have maybe an offline laptop or something that hasn't touched the internet before, and so many different ways to secure it. And I'll leave that for you guys to research more. But I remember reading a book called Bitcoin. What was it called? It was called Bitcoin. Was it called Bitcoin Millionaires or something to that effect? And it's a book about, I don't want to say the inception of Bitcoin, but sort of the inception of the innovators within Bitcoin. So it talks about, Charlie Sheen. It talks about the Winklevi twins, and a few other people. So the reason why I'm mentioning that is because that's exactly what the Winklevosses did. They took they bought a lot of Bitcoin, and they said, obviously, we want to make sure that this is secure. So what are we going to do? We're going to separate. We're going to go to these different banks and stuff like that, put it in vaults, as in the seed phrases, not the whole seed phrase, just part of it, and in different parts of the country. I think they even didn't tell each other which ones they were going to, if I'm not mistaken. And then they bought it on laptops that had never touched the internet, and they did a lot of stuff to ensure that they had their bases covered. And you don't even have to go to that extreme, but you just have to make sure that when you're dealing with life-changing amounts of money, that you take proper precautions. Otherwise, if and when something does happen, who are you going to blame? You have to blame yourself, which is unfortunate, but it's the truth. And with that being said, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.